I'm Alistair Connor and this is my campaign video for my Art Direction Advanced Web Design for Assignment 3 Design Portfolio. At the beginning of this assignment I was designated to refresh the brand assets for my chosen organisation. I had to explore the pre-existing fonts, primary colours, etc. and I wanted to keep all of the assets pretty much similar because first of all, they're very good fonts. The fonts, first of all, they're very readable, they're not too distracting, and the Open Sans condensed semi-bold and the Open Sans lights are just perfect in my opinion for everything. The colours, the black and white, they're from the logo, the WWF logo, the original Panda logo. And the orange or the orangey yellow, which is known as a cantaloupe colour, it brings that brightness, it brings that liveliness to the websites and all the designs when you're only using black and white. And obviously I've added some additional colours which will be used throughout my high fidelity website and any other future designs. I started off using those refreshed brand assets to create my high fidelity website. I'd already previously made the home page, but with a bit of feedback and peer assessments, I got a few different opinions to change it a bit, not much, but just some little changes. And then I now started creating the further pages you would be able to look through once the website would be fully completed, that is. These were the other two pages I made. There's a about page and I also made a donation page. That's because that's like kind of one of the most important things I think for any non-profit organisation is to have a donation page. One that's very visible as well, visible and easy to get to for the users. This is an example of my prototyping I created using Figma. Just for some of the buttons which you could have seen on the high fidelity websites. I didn't want to make too much on my high fidelity, so the buttons actually don't take you anywhere, but they change when your cursor hovers over them. It allows the user to know which one they've selected very clearly. I've got an example I can show you now. This is just a little example I created just so you can see how they work. The little orange bar at the top just drops down, changes the black to the orange, and hopefully that will allow the users to know exactly which one they're selecting or going to select. Another section we had to work on was public advertisement. This was my first stage of actually creating the adverts, the posters, using Adobe Illustrator. I designed kind of like a low poly iceberg, and the phrase "love it or lose it." That's one of WWF's original phrases they've used in many of their advertisements, and I think it's just perfect for this iceberg illustration that I've created. I created two billboard designs, a large billboard and a smaller billboard, but I also wanted to experiment with a bus poster, which you'll see in a bit. Well, you can see there. And the iceberg, I think, kind of worked really well for me with the positioning of it, the height of it, and everything like that. Here's my bus poster example for public advertisement. And here are my two billboard advertisements. These were both placed embedded on a free mockup website called Placeit, and I'll leave a reference for that on my WordPress site. We also had to make a social media post, or a mock-up social media post. I chose Instagram. It's one of the easier ones. It's nice proportions. Well, it depends on what kind of post, whether it's a reel or story. But I kept it with a post, and I created this one using Adobe Express. It was very easy, but you can also make them look very nice. I created mine, gave it a little animation. I can show you that now. Nothing too over the top, just something that would, lighten, bring the audiences in to explore it. And that is a little design of what it would look like in an actual on the app. Finally, we had to create merchandise, or some mock-ups of merchandise. I didn't really want to make shirt designs. My logo, I don't think my logo would have worked the best for that. So instead, I created 4 books. I created 1 book, and then I experimented with the colours. And that just includes the logo. I cut out the text because it wouldn't have worked. It would have been too squashed, and it just didn't look great. But then I also made a mock-up of a mug design using the Adobe Illustrator mock-up tool, which is in a beta version, but it's still pretty good. It's managed to do what I wanted it to do, and it's given a pretty good result, I think. That's everything for now. I'll leave a link for my Figma to view the high fidelity in this, and I will put this PowerPoint on my WordPress site.